Imagine a world without choices. Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. UIC.
Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV. This is Joseph Patterson, and today we're going to be talking with somebody from the UK who is having some challenges here in Jamaica. So we're starting early. We're at 1 o'clock so that we can accommodate UK time. I think it's about 7 p.m. in the UK now, and we're going to be having somebody we're going to call Jane Doe, who is going to share with us her experience and her challenges that she's going through in terms of securing land title here in Jamaica. In the process, we're going to uncover for you a bit of the dark side of the system and what you need to look out for in terms of securing your land title. In fact, I think we have possibly a serious problem. But before I do that, welcome everyone. Welcome Craig McKenzie, I see you on. Negus Tony, welcome. Big up to everyone out there on all of our platforms, be it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, where else? Of course, YouTube, everybody on Liberty TV here. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to leave your comments as well. We'd love to hear your comments, to get your feedback, negative or positive, to keep us on track. Let us know what you're thinking about the work we're doing, the direction we're going, the challenges we're having, the opportunities we're taking advantage of, and even the ones that we miss. Let us know so we can follow up on that. I also want to invite you to call in today. Feel free to pick up the phone and call in to our number. I'm sure Naika is going to put it on screen soon for you to see. 876-293-0812. If you want to call in and talk to me about the issue, share with me your concerns. Maybe you have had some land issues in Jamaica, land title issues here in Jamaica as well, and you want to share your story with us. I am inviting all of you to come in and talk about it. So let's kick off today's conversation with Jane Doe. We're not going to show her face, by the way. We're going to hear her voice, and she's going to talk to us about the matter of securing her land title here in Jamaica. Welcome, Enos. Good to see you on. And Wade Noble, good to see you on as well. So welcome, everyone. So let me see if I can get Miss Jane Doe on now. Big up, Mr. Ventus Brown. Good to see you on as well. Let's see here. Jane Doe, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful. Excellent. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. And thank you for accommodating me on your platform to share this, challenge that I have, and hopefully it can help other people as well. And, hopefully this can resolve as well as soon as possible.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, you're right. What we want to do is to bring attention to the situation, and hopefully it will spur those in the respective agency and agencies to take the appropriate actions to quickly rectify not just your situation, but all those other Jamaicans who might be suffering because of some challenges in the system. And Jamaica has a lot of challenges in the system. We're very inefficient in many of our systems here. very ineffective. And worse than all, we have a lot of corruption that is built into the system. When you try to do something here or there, there's always some form of corruption interfering with you getting things done. So before we begin, I just want to take the opportunity to thank you for being willing to step forward and to be willing to share your story with other Jamaicans. And again, for those who are joining us now, we have Miss Jane Doe on the line. That's not her real name. She's joining us from the UK. It's about 7:06 where she is now, and it's 1 p.m. for us here in Jamaica. I'm live in my home studio in St. Elizabeth, where it's lovely, nice and sunny outside. It's been a beautiful day so far. How is the weather where you are, Jane Doe?
Very cloudy, wet. It's very rainy. No sun.
Oh my goodness. The things we suffer even when we go and live in other countries and trying to make something of our lives, and we have to suffer and we can't come home quickly and just enjoy all the warmth and the beauty and the tranquility and peace that we should be able to enjoy in this 12 months a year of summer we have in Jamaica. What a bit.
Definitely so. And that would have been the intention of a lot of us.
Mhm.
However, different circumstances, especially for mine, the land thing has dampened a lot of it for me.
I can imagine, and we're going
In
to get into
somewhat
it
way,
soon.
even turn you off from wanting to return because it has created so much problems,
No, good point. So it has made you want to reconsider returning to Jamaica because you're wondering, is this what I should expect in all of my other arrangements? Can I trust the
Yes,
system? Right?
exactly.
Mhm.
Right.
And I can't blame you. I've been back here now in Jamaica since 2011. How many years is that? We're looking at about 11, going 12 years now.
Well,
I've been back in Jamaica. And I was talking to a friend of mine recently. I think she's in Nottingham in the UK,
mhm.
and she was just talking about the problems she had with squirrels in her backyard. Giving her some problems in her backyard with the things that she plants and so on. Squirrels, squirrels.
Yes.
And then she I think she's visiting Canada now because she was writing about Canada and the squirrels and saying she had the same thing in her backyard in London, in Nottingham, I think, in the UK. And I said to her, we have human squirrels here, so I'm a bigger problem than you,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
And so she said, boy, you can't win no matter which way you turn, there are problems. I said, yeah, but the truth is, your problems are a little less than the ones we have, because here in Santa Cruz, I live close to Santa Cruz,
Yeah.
we have been a very peaceful, St. Elizabeth is one of the most peaceful parishes
Yeah.
in Jamaica. And now, if you go into Santa Cruz during the week, it is now a ghost town by the time you get close to 5, going to 6. Everybody running home because
Yeah.
crime has just gone up through the roof.
Yes.
Close to me here, about 4 different establishments have already been attacked by criminals,
Yes.
right? So this is not good for Jamaica. This is not good for not just tourists, but we, the people living here, and
Mhm.
those of us who are living outside and want to come home. This kind of story isn't good for us.
No, it's not, and it really dampens because it's that security that you don't have, that safety net that you don't have. If something happens, who do you talk to? Who do you go to, knowing that you can trust them? And that
Exactly.
is the problem at the moment. The trust is
The
so
trust factor
broken.
is too low. The trust is too low. All right, so let's talk now about your situation specifically. We're going to get into your story now. And just for the record, how long have you left Jamaica?
I would say 92, 96 officially, go back and forth from 92, and officially been here since 96.
96, okay.
Yes.
And give us the backstory now of why you have a land title issue. Don't get into the problem yet. Just tell us how you come to needing to resolve a title matter.
Okay, so the property was leasehold at first, and then the government sold it. And so At the time, my mom was alive and she bought the property while we were here and even have to send the paperwork here for us to sign. So when she bought the property in 2003, unfortunately, she passed away 3 months later. Sorry,
Yeah, man, I understand. Take a few minutes. Take a few minutes. I fully understand.
Okay, so what has happened is that since that time, I've been contacting the parish council in regards to the main title, because what we did, we had a paper, I'm not sure what they call that first stage where they sell the land and it's not really a title or anything, but it's a proof that you are the owner.
Okay.
And yes, so at that first stage, what happened now, you have to apply for that title, which would have those other parties' name on it as well. Unfortunately, each time I contact the parish council, or RADA for that matter, because RADA was first, the first, what you'd say, contact at the time. RADA was in charge of the lands at the time. And so it would pass on to from RADA to the parish council, which at the time, I don't know what happened between RADA and parish council, but I keep hearing that parish council is holding up the whole thing. RADA keeps saying they done their stuff. It's the parish council. I kept contacting them, and as you can imagine, 20 years later, they were very unhelpful. I contacted the National Land Agency.
Hold on. Pause for a second. You said 20 years later. So this process started when?
2003.
2003.
Yes, 20 years ago.
Your mother passed away when?
2003.
So you acted immediately to regularize the whole thing.
Yes.
And just for the benefit of all the listeners, your mother leased the land initially under an agricultural scheme.
Yes.
And after leasing it for a period of time, she subsequently purchased the land?
Yes.
And so you have a receipt for her purchase?
Okay. Yeah, we have everything, all the paperwork, all the land paperwork that they give you with all the agreements, everything. There was no issue with the paperwork.
Was there a title issued at the time?
No, there wasn't any title issue. Like a proper main title, what they would call it. I'm not sure what you guys
No
use.
problem. Yeah, that's fine. So it's a legal, what you had was
a legal document.
A legal document evidencing the purchase and the sale.
Right.
And it identified the purchaser as your mother. Her full name is on the document.
Right. 5. Yeah.
And it tells you how much you paid for it, the date and everything is there.
Everything was on it.
All official. So you have all the paperwork that your mother has legally purchased the property, having been a leaseholder for some time under a government scheme.
Yes, nearly 40 years.
Settled. Good. And now that she passed away in 2003, you moved immediately now to go and regularize the whole thing, to have a proper title issued with all of her children on it. Is it four children?
Yes.
All right. So I would say these 4 children are now, by virtue of her will, this property transfers to these 4 persons, and you'd list the names on it now, the 4 if your name on it. That's what you're trying to have done.
So what happened? We signed the paper in the process of the sale. So we were part of that process in the sale. So we didn't have an issue with will or anything. We were automatically owners.
So okay, let me just clarify. So when the purchase was done by your mother, the 4 siblings were involved in that purchase, and their names were added at that time, that you are joint purchasers.
Yes, it's like joint purchasers. So with the paperwork, would have come to the UK and we find a lawyer to verify our signature, send the paperwork back to Jamaica. So that was the process at the time.
So your siblings were living overseas as well?
Yes.
All right. So you all signed off on the document and it came back to Jamaica with RADA, and now it goes to the
Parish
Parish
Council.
Council office for them now to do their part and
Right.
to issue title, right?
Right,
And
definitely.
that entire thing has taken 20 years.
Yes, 20 years.
20, you hear that, people? That entire process, well, not the process, because you have submitted your documents 20 years ago. And 20 years later, you're still waiting for the parish council to issue title to you and your other 3 siblings.
Right. What happened in the process of that 20 years? I don't know how RADA and parish council work. However, we were told it's parish council holding up this, holding up that. And fast forward to that was the fact that when we contact parish council, eventually, they were, as I said, they were very reluctant to help. So I reached out to a politician, and I had to put it to him that by then it was 17 years.
Wow.
So fast forward, what happened? Something happened at that point where the NLA got moving, and they made some effort, and we were able to actually get the title that time, which is about 4 years ago. Yeah,
No, repeat that. You said 4 years ago, you did what to get the title?
So you know that title that we were waiting on? That we got it just about 4 years ago, within 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, all right. So 17, so roughly 16 years later, you got the title.
Yes. So by 2019, yes, 2020, just around when COVID came in, because I remember clearly COVID just about coming, and that was another delay, or whatever. And so what happened again? Another delay.
A delay what now? Because you said you got the title. So what is the delay?
So we got the title with everybody's name, but now the splinter title for the individual title was another problem.
All right. So pause there, because I want our viewers to fully follow. So it took roughly 19 years. Did I get that
17,
right?
yeah.
17 years. 17 years to finally get from the parish council a document that says, here's a title for how much acres?
1.4.
1.4 acres. Here's a title for 1.4 acres. And the names of the persons on title are these 4 persons, of which you are one.
Yes.
You got that document. Now you're moving to another phase now where you want to subdivide the land between the 4 of you?
Yes.
So you want individual titles now for 1/4 of the 1 point something acres.
Yeah, whatever it is there. Yes, definitely.
Okay, so now that's the stage that you're in now. So you suffered the pain of 17 years long waiting to get to the point of a title with the 4 siblings on it. And now you have started another process from then until now of trying to get that title now split into 4 equal parts for you and your 3 siblings. Now, what has happened from then? You said you went to a politician, and what happened?
So when we got that main title, what has happened, that was when I think the politician might have intervened, that one with the 4. However, when it was time for the subdivision, the challenge I had with parish council was that they were very too involved in the signing of the documents, in choosing for us, if you understand mean.
Keep going.
So I don't know why, but this is why I would say a lot of land crime is in Jamaica, because if they encourage this behavior, then it will cause more
Well, let's
problems.
understand the behavior first. So what did the land agents do? You said they got very involved.
Yeah, the parish
What were
council.
you, the parish
Yeah,
council? What were they? So the parish council were now involved also in the subdivision, which they should
yeah.
be, because if they're going to issue no titles for 4 different persons, then I would expect them to have a role. But you said there were 2 involved. What do you mean by that?
So what I meant was, based on the dynamics of the 4 people, it was better, more peaceful for each person to do their own thing. Well, for me, I'm not gonna speak for the others. If they wanted to do it together, that's fine, and I think that was the way they wanted to go. However, I wanted to do a tight, just take mine off, which I don't see a problem with that. I asked them how to go about it, and they explained.
Who's
However,
they?
by
Who's they?
the parish council staff
Mhm.
who I managed to get the information from at the time.
So you wanted the other siblings wanted to keep one title with the 3 of them, and you wanted to take your piece off and have your own title for your area.
I I don't know if they wanted to keep it together, but I think what they wanted was all 4 of us to put it in at once.
Okay, so they wanted all 4 of you to sign a document to say um, you would like them to do the subdivision, and you're going to give the authority to one person to manage all of that process. Is that the situation?
Yes, so they were, first of all, when I requested the single title application, that was fine up until when I send the agreement letter to them, which is what parish council requires. So I only go by what parish council say, because I don't know their processes. So I sent the paper. I had somebody acting on my behalf, and I sent it to them, and they had all sort of negativity about it and etc. That they're not gonna sign it, and
Who's they? Who are we talking
the
about?
family members,
Okay. So,
The,
so, so you have to be clear here now. When you're talking about it, specify. So you wrote what document? What did you write?
the agreement letter that parish council requested to say that I'm going to do this. So it's like giving them notice, so to speak. That was their word.
That you're
Giving
going to
them
do
notice
what? That you're going to do what?
to get my title, my
Okay.
individual title.
So just for the audience, you
Yeah,
wanted to request your individual title. So
right.
say of this 1.5 acres, this 1/4 of it, this particular boundary is
Yes.
mine, and a title with my name on it. They said you must send them a letter where you are requesting this, right? Now, after you wrote that letter, your siblings had a problem with the letter?
Yeah, they had a problem.
Mhm.
And it went on for 3 years, because when I sent them that letter, they wrote their own letter stating that they want me to give them permission to act on my behalf and also to collect my title. Now, if I want to do my thing individually, obviously there's a problem. And why would I go that route? And for 3 years it took us, right, to get to the other stage of signing that paperwork. And how it happened, I visited the island, and the parish council, the same parish council guy from the 3 years ago of the starting, 2 of them, they were trying to convince me why it's better to do it together because of whatever the family members have fed them with, and they buy into it, and they come to me with that.
Who's they? Who's they?
The family members.
No,
Um,
who came to the family members with that? Or
no, so the family members go to the parish council staffs with it. So they get them now to be able to side on their side to convince me not to go ahead with the single title.
All right. So
So,
somebody from the parish council's office
mm-hmm,
sought to convince you that
mm-hmm.
it's better for you to give permission to your family members to work through somebody on all of the four of your behalf to
What
get
he
this. Mhm.
what he tried to do is get us to put the application together as one person, as one application.
Right, one
And nothing is
application.
wrong with that in the
Mhm.
sense where each individual is still gonna be responsible for their own thing anyway. However, they wanted, I don't know why this family member in particular wanted to be the main person to be representing someone, and you only can represent someone if they request it.
Mhm. All
Yeah.
right, so hold stick up in there. So one family member, one of the four of you, because there are four
Mm-hmm.
siblings, one of the four wanted all four of you to agree to let that one person represent all of you in the process of getting the title sorted out.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you having your own rights said
Mm-hmm.
that no, I would rather represent myself through any other channels I choose. I don't want to be forced or coerced or
Mm-hmm.
to agree that you, one family member, will represent all of us and everything will go through you and you will manage the whole process and then you will then give us our titles after you collect it from the tax office.
Right.
You said no, you don't want that. You
I
want to
don't
do it
want
first.
that. I don't want it.
And on top of that, the person from the parish council now, they sided with your relative who said they want to represent all of you
Yes.
and try to convince you that you should allow the relative to represent all of you. And you are wondering why would the tax office want to seek, or the parish council person want to seek to influence you or push you towards that, as
Exactly.
opposed to honoring your request to simply process your request separate and apart from your other siblings, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did now, which was, I believe, was deceptive. When I told you, when I was there, he managed to speak to me, because apparently it seems like I told them I'm not going to sign any paperwork giving anybody any permission, and I will leave the country without doing it. So they quickly get him to speak to me, um, and then they arrange a meeting. But by this, say for example, yesterday I went to the office and they gave me this letter, and they were very much okay. So what they do, one way in the office they're okay, or in front of certain people they're okay, but behind, and one on one is a different person.
Okay.
So so,
So
so
hold on. I want
mhm,
people to understand this. So when you are in the office,
mhm,
with everybody sitting around the table, and things should go a certain way, the
mhm.
person who is trying to influence you behave as if they're going to follow the process as it should go.
Right, right.
And when the meeting done now and everybody dispersed now, the person from the municipal office come around now and still want try to force you to go the
So
way of this. Yeah.
before what happened before that? There wasn't the meeting as such. What he did, I went to the office, with
Mhm.
my daughter, and
Okay.
we were there with some other staff, and the staff were even saying the same thing, that they couldn't see why these family members are so determined
Mhm.
to behave. This particular guy now who I spoke to, he didn't seem to had a clue of what was going on at the time, because remember I
Mhm.
just walked in. So
Yes.
he wouldn't have got any brief or anything, because no one was expecting me. So as I went in, he was the available assistant, and I was explaining the situation, and he said, there's no way they can be responsible. Everybody have their own equal rights. This is
Mhm.
that particular guy.
Mhm.
Now, when he brought out the family friend one of that family friend,
Mhm.
then he come out, writing the letter that I requested to give to them, to state what they are demanding. Because I said, give me a letter of what you want, and I'm not going to leave until I get the letter. He was very professional, acting all this. And when I left, He called me the next day trying to convince me of
Mm.
why.
So what we're seeing here is a possibility of a scam, meaning somebody on the inside
Yes.
might be colluding with one or more of your family members.
I think he was colluding with all of them, but
Right.
because the three of them were together, so to speak, they were all for that person to do
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
And it was just me alone
And it,
standing.
and it could be too, just for argument's sake, because we know how families work and how people work. It could be that the other two siblings are being simpletons. They don't realize the risk of what they're doing. And this other family member was able to convince them or con them into thinking that it's best that they give him or her the right to represent them and deal with things, because we know somebody, man, we can get this thing done, man. So let's
That
let
is
them do it.
true. That is
And
true.
yeah,
However, if you know the
uh-huh,
dynamics of them, you
yeah.
know that they know.
Okay, good.
If you
So they
see what I
know,
mean, if you
right?
know the dynamics of the three
And
of
you would
them,
know because it's your family member, so you know where
that
about.
is true. But I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
From that point of view,
So at the end
but
of the day,
these.
though, at the end of the day, what's going on is that somebody in the parish council office who is
Mm-hmm.
is in a position of trust, who you should be able to rely on for professional services without
Yeah.
bias, that
Mm-hmm.
person is working closely with a family member of yours who may
Mm-hmm.
not be working in your best interest, and both of them are trying to force you, directly
Yeah.
or indirectly, to give up your rights to
Yes.
these family members and hope that when it's all settled, you will in fact end up with your title.
Oh, exactly. And you know what was so interesting when they sent me that letter to sign to give them permission, letter of permission, to say this person is going to follow the full process from the beginning to the end
Mhm.
for me on my behalf. When I challenged them and I said, why would I need to give you permission from beginning to end? She said, oh, this was the guideline from the parish council how to write it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was what she said to me.
But that was deception. That was misleading.
Yes, definitely.
So
And so
she was hoping that you are dunce enough to believe her.
done. Right. She thought I was stupid enough, and then
Mhm.
she used the parish council saying it's their guideline.
Exactly.
However, the
Yeah.
problem I had, because this guy was so involved, you would have almost think he has something to do with it, or he has a way of to find his way out of it, though,
Who
because
is that? Who you
the
talking
parish
about?
council guy.
Okay. Yeah, man. He knows the system very well. He knows the system. You see, every time one of us go to deal with a title matter, it's normally either the first time
Mhm.
or we're not very. It's nothing we do every day. But these guys who are working for the government, they're doing this every day. So
Yes,
they know all the ins and outs, all the tricks of the game. And so
definitely.
all they want is a willing third party to work with them to scam somebody else.
Right.
So he needs him see, let's say, I don't know where the land is,
Mm-hmm.
but they might see an opportunity here where they can end up making a big money, but they need you to take the fall for it. So you lose and they gain.
Yes, because there is a property, there is a well, I don't know, property house on the land, 3 bedroom. So
Hmm.
it would have carried value, and that was on my part, and the others don't. So I believe that was,
Oh, there's a 3 bedroom property on your part.
yeah, that I put up.
Ah,
So
okay,
that's what is the problem.
okay. And they don't have that on their part.
No.
Okay.
So what they were hoping, it's so much, to be honest, um
Mhm.
to that they have been doing. They intimidated me when I go on holiday, and I stayed there this
Mhm.
last year. The same family member in particular sends someone to peep on me in the bush. Each time I go, she visit the property. She never know. Sometimes she never visit until I reach, and
Yeah.
she would. The last time, which was last year, what she did, she came, and some guys were there doing some work, and I was there dancing, playing the music, just in a happy mood, nothing to it. And she's videoing me from her part, videoing me. So she do everything. I have times when I go, and in the night they throw stones on the house. Yes. They do
Wow.
everything. I leave people there to just oversee, and for some reason they find way to friend them and create problems, and this time I had to stop everything now, and this is where now I I am able to hone things in.
So these people are wicked people then.
Yes, yes,
These
they are.
people they're bent on evil.
Definitely. And I see it and I know it, but when you talk to the wrong people, because in Jamaica the culture is so toxic
Yes.
that you
Correct.
almost everybody, I know good people are there, but almost all of them, no matter how they come, they find a way
To
to be
swim
able
through.
to consume
They
into it.
find a way to thief you. They find a way to
Yes,
scam you. No matter what it is, they could come and offer you a little water. You have to be careful.
exactly.
You have to like,
And
I wonder why I'm offering me this water. You
there's
understand me?
always something
Yeah.
behind their behavior,
Yeah.
and because of the situation, and they are aware as well, for the most part, because you know what communities are like, it puts you at risk to
Yeah.
be vulnerable to certain things,
Yeah.
if you see what I mean. And that's where I am with it.
My goodness.
Yes, it's very bad, and nobody is listening to you. That's the problem.
Yes, 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 yes,
So
yes.
what has happened with this thing now, where the guy said to me that day on the phone when he was trying to, negotiate us
hmm
signing, he said to me, if I can come in for a meeting.
Which guy? The same one that's trying to encourage
This,
you to?
yes, the
Okay.
same one. He's
hmm
he's very much engaged from 3 years ago.
Okay.
And so he asked me, and I said, how could I know that I can trust you, that what you're going about is, whatever? And he said, oh, we're not here to get involved in it. We're just here to process application, etc. I said, okay, then. But as you said, they think I'm done.
Right, right,
So
right.
when I went to the office now, no meeting, they just decide that we're going to sign the paperwork, and I
hmm
was okay with that, because I said at least it prevent me from giving anybody any letter of permission.
hmm
When at the end of the signing, the gentleman asked us, who do we want to be the main person? And I state again, I am representing myself, and the others choose the other person. Now time go by, because as I said, I was communicating with this person, the same funny one on the phone. So he was giving me a
From the
brief of
parish council. From the parish
parish
council.
council one, and he
hmm
was giving me a brief of the next stages, and the title really should have come through this April gone, based on what he told me. So
hmm
I was busy, so I said in June I contacted him, and I said, oh, what is going on? I messaged him, and I said, um, about the title, and what stage is it at, and etc. And eventually, I don't know, I don't have the full sequence of the conversation, but he mentioned that he's not there anymore. So I said, do you have anything to tell me? What stage did you leave it? Because by this, I didn't want to communicate with them, because at the time I told them I want to deal with them directly. So I wasn't aware.
No, you said
No.
to them. You said to them there. Who are the them?
So the family members, I didn't want to
Okay.
deal with them, because I
Right.
told the parish council that I need to deal with the parish council directly. So
So you have now you've made full separation. You don't want to have any more conversation with the family members. You just want to
right,
deal directly with the parish council and go
yeah.
through the process as an independent person wanting your title. And then what did he say to that?
So when we were having the conversation now, I noticed he was saying that this family member. No, I think what happened, they let you know there was an email stating that this family member is acting on my behalf. But
Oh,
just before that, I was communicating with him, and he was
with
saying he's
who?
not
The
there
parish council
anymore.
person, the parish council.
Yeah, the person from parish council. I was communicating with him, asking
Mhm.
him what is what, and I said because it should have come through April, because
Mhm.
based on what they told me, he told me, the parish
Mhm.
council guy, I needed just one thing from the surveyor, and that would
Mhm.
have been it. Now, and he claimed that the sister would pick it up, right? I'm not dealing with them, but whatever he said to me, that's fine in terms of them.
Mhm.
I said okay. So I called the surveyor, because I was the
Mhm.
one who got the survey in the first place, and I asked him if he heard from anything from anyone, and he said no. And then he said, I heard from them this morning. At first,
Mhm.
he said no, and then he said, oh, I heard, and I said, oh, I spoke to the parish council guy this morning,
Mhm.
so maybe that is how she contacted you,
Mhm.
because and he said she contacted him a few weeks ago, but this morning she contacted him. I think he maybe forget, because it may be a sudden question. And
Mhm.
then I said, okay. And he said that she's planning to come by him to pick up XYZ.
Mhm.
All right. I contacted the parish council to ask them what is going on, because I thought this paperwork thing was, at the stages where the guy said.
Mhm.
And because he's telling me about the sister now, I realize that the sister, thing is a bit like it all down to her now. And I said, let me write to the parish council, and they wouldn't answer me. And I wrote to them again, and then this is how now, like, they want to shut me up. They said they sent me an email to say that they are only responsible to correspond with XYZ, and that person should be sending me the emails that they have sent.
Okay, pause there. So what you're saying here now is that the finally you're learning that somehow, somewhere, the parish council has confirmation in their documentation
Yeah.
somehow that says the family member that you didn't want to represent the
Mm-hmm.
four of you is now the person representing the four of you, even though you said no to it.
Yes. And
Which
they
means,
refuse to give me information.
right,
On
but which means, before you go on, which means that either you're lying, meaning
mm-hmm,
you gave permission to this family member,
mm-hmm.
or they fraudulently put documentation in place to say that you have given permission to this family member.
Exactly. So when I got that email, and I went back to the parish council guy who is so involved, and I said to him, the conversation went on, and he was saying, I said to him, I got this email regarding saying that this family member is acting on my behalf.
Mhm.
And he went and he said, oh, you signed a letter of permission. I said, no, I didn't sign
Who,
any
no,
letter.
who said that? The
The
parish
parish
council
council
person?
guy,
The same guy who has
the
been
same
trying to
guy, the
pressure
same
you.
guy
Okay,
from
yes.
3 years
Mhm.
ago.
Yeah.
And I
Let's
said,
let's
no,
call him
I
let's
didn't.
call him Mr. X going forward.
Mr. X,
Yeah.
yes. So
Mhm.
Mr. X from parish council said, I signed a letter of permission. And I said, no. Because remember, I'm confronting him because he knows the story.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then he went on and said, when I signed the document in the office, that is signing, giving permission. I've never heard anything like this.
So he is deliberately and calculatingly
Yes.
lying to your very face.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to pretend as if what he's saying is true, and he's now prepared to go anywhere and make a
Yes.
statement that you came into his office and you signed a document to say you wish to give permission to your sibling to represent you in the matter, and so you are no longer the person for them to talk to.
Exactly. Why would we hold out for 3 years and then suddenly I give permission? And then he's the one who called the meeting to negotiate. It doesn't make sense,
So it means here now that we have to bring in the fraud squad.
right? And on top of that,
Mhm.
the family member went behind my back again to the land agency trying to get hold of another they call it the main title, because what happened,
Mhm.
you have a duplicate, certified duplicate. So
Mhm.
I got a certified duplicate, and that is what I use. When I was in the office, and I used the copy to put in the application, because that was what is the request on the paperwork of documents that you need to submit, a duplicate copy. So she sent me a text to say, just a text of what NLA would give you of the list at the time.
Who sent you
The
that?
sister, the
The
family member
the
who
family member.
is
All right.
playing like
So
she's in charge.
let's call her the sister going forward, so we know exactly who it is. All right.
So the
Yep.
sister, she sent me this list of document, and then she said to me she need permission to collect the certificate of title. So straight away I thought she was talking about my title at the time. And
When
I
was
said,
that?
why do you
When was that?
not in June, just
Okay,
this
June here.
last month,
Okay.
just
Hmm.
last month.
Yes.
And
Right.
I said to her, why do you want to collect my title? Then she said, it's not my title, it's the main one. There is I'm gonna this is it. So I'm gonna give you this story. She was so twisted. And so she said to me she wanted to collect that main one. And I said, why would they want you to collect that main one to put through the paperwork when I use the duplicate certified copy? Because on the paper that she sent me on the text, it said duplicate copy. So I said, but that is exactly what I used. So she said, no, it's the main one from the office. Because what happened, when the first title come in, there is a main one, isn't it? A solid one, a
Mhm.
original one.
Yes.
So they can give you a copy and certify it.
Hmm.
And from my knowledge, that certified copy that you get from them is just as good as that one in the office. I
Hmm.
don't know if anything changed, because I tried to contact that person and they're not answering. So I can't, and that is the
You mean Mr.
problem.
X person, Mr. X?
Not Mr. X. This is
Okay.
now NLA.
And oh, NLA. Okay. Yes.
Yes, so I contacted them to verify what she said, but they're not
Mhm.
answering. And this is the problem. Your customer service, or you're doing a job, answer people. It doesn't matter how much you know about the store, just answer.
Mhm.
Because people genuinely want information. Nobody's here for all this toxic behavior. I'm
Mhm.
only involved in this because I was dragged into it, if
Mhm.
you see what I mean. I
Mhm.
don't go around creating,
So
this is,
let's stay. I just want to stay on the facts first. I know the pain you're suffering, but I want to make sure we just isolate and stay very clear on the facts. So
yes.
where we are now in the story, ladies and
Mm-hmm.
gentlemen, is that the Mr. X from the parish council is now pretending and behaving as if you, Jane Doe, have signed permission to give your sister the right to
Yes,
represent you in the matter. Um,
exactly.
you protested that by saying no, you haven't done such thing.
Yeah.
Secondarily, now your sister has contacted you to say,
Mm.
asking you for what? What you asking for?
Permission. So
Permission.
when she went behind my back to collect that paperwork, that's what she said, and because she didn't get it, she had to come to me to let me know. So that means to me, if she received that paperwork, she would have done what she needed to do without me knowing. But the fact that they told her that she can't receive it without me,
Mm-hmm.
and she need either my permission or we come in together. And when you come in together, I from my knowledge, from how they explain, it's not giving people permission. When you come in together, that means because you didn't give permission,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it? Because if I'm going to come in and sign and it's giving permission, I might as well write the letter.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, well, that's fine. I got that. But so where we are, and here's the thing. She's clearly now asking for your permission. I'm not too
Yeah.
sure what's going on there, but let's back up a second. Mr. X from the parish council
Mm-hmm.
claimed that you've already given permission
Right.
and that they
Right.
no longer need to communicate with you.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she's now asking you to give her permission to go and collect mean they're probably trying to work them brain on you.
Exactly. They want the permission letter now.
Right. So they wanted so first he tried to bulldoze you by saying you've already signed.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're seeing, can we now get her to agree without realizing she's agreeing?
Right.
And so that's the game they're trying to play right now.
Exactly. So if I gave them that permission letter, it would help to cover them.
Yes, which you're not going to do. I 1 second here. There's a little bit of a chatter in our group here. And
Okay.
we have people who come on and try to distract from the main program. So I'm going to ask the person who is called Who Am I to desist from interrupting the live and allow us to focus on the main conversation here. If you're going to be disruptive, we're going to have to remove you from the chat, right? So let's focus on the issue here. We can talk about other things when we come to the question and answer period.
Yes.
So back to you, my dear Jane Doe. Go ahead.
So in the end, she requests now a permission letter, or we come together. And I said, okay, I will either when I come there, I can do it, or I can send it to the person of concern. And that was, she even sent me the contact of the person of concern. So she knows I've never given her permission, because if I have given her permission there, it would be easy to give her permission here.
So who is the person of concern? I mean, is it another person?
NLA.
Oh, NLA.
Yes.
Okay, so the NLA, she's saying you've not given her permission, so you've asked her, send me who I should talk to then.
Yes.
And she've sent you somebody from the NLA that you should talk to. All right. So what is your next move? What do you plan to do next?
So what she did after that, because I think what happened, she realized that she's in trouble, because I CC'd her with the parish council email that they sent me. And I said I have never agreed to that. And she went quiet. And, you can tell that she knows that I'm standing up.
Yeah, you smell the rat, and you're not falling. You're not falling for the trick.
Message.
Did you copy the Mr. X on that email?
No, I didn't, because he said he's not working there anymore. And the email I had for him, I did send an email to him, not knowing that he wasn't working there anymore, and he said he didn't get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I would do, still copy that email along with any other email on it, so the paper trail remains with him, because it may not be that he's being honest. You know he's dishonest already, so you might want to keep the connection going. But anyways, we're going to get to the point where
he ended up, when I said to him on the phone, when I confronted him about the letter of permission, when he told me that the person, when the parish council told me, I contacted him. So what he said, what he did now, I said to him, you are the problem. I told him he's the problem, and he got upset, and he come off the phone. So he's not he's not replying now. So because I confronted him, I said, "You are the problem," and he was like, "How am I the problem?" I said, "You are the problem. You are the problem because you have been the person dealing with it from day one, and you know
Absolutely.
very well that I didn't give any permission." And then he said to me, "Then who would they communicate with?" Remember, I can choose who I want to communicate with them on my behalf. I had somebody as a power of attorney and they got rid of him.
When you say got rid of him, what do you mean?
They find ways to get the guys to tell me that he cannot represent me because of all the frauds going on. And I
Okay.
had, yeah, they find way
Hold
for
on,
me
hold
to
on.
remove him.
Let's be clear here. Your power of attorney, you said they got rid of him. Is it
Mhm.
that they got him to say he can't do this anymore?
No, he didn't say nothing. He was willing. They write me to tell me
Who's
that
they? Who's they?
my siblings wrote me to
Okay.
tell me that the parish council told them that I cannot use a power of attorney to represent me. Imagine, I got the information from the from the parish council when I was to do this process. I told them where I am, and they were okay. Everything was okay. That other one name, that there's another guy and in there, there's two of them, the main one that
Another
work
guy
in
in
this
where? Another guy in where?
in the parish council. It's two
Okay.
of them.
So
That
Mr.
was
X and Mr. Y in the parish
Mr. X
council.
and Mr. Y. Mr. Y, who was very in favor of helping Mr. X, he
Mhm.
was the one who told me all the things that I needed to do. I got what I needed to do. The person was even going there on my behalf. Nothing was wrong until one day they just told me that he can't represent me. I said, "I've never heard that a power of attorney cannot represent anyone." And it was a legal document. I paid lawyer here to certify, this the processes, and they make him not power of attorney by
Well,
the
they
parish.
can't, they can't make him not power of attorney. You know, what they did was to convince you that he's no longer power of attorney and to simply
No,
ignore
they
him.
wouldn't have set him to act on my behalf,
I
parish
know that, yeah,
council.
right. So the parish council could very well have broken the law in that
They
instance.
have. They
Right.
have.
I
But
mean, I
you
don't know all
see,
the facts, you know, but what I'm saying is if you legally got this person as your power of attorney
mhm,
and there is no legal basis for him to be so denied,
mhm,
then they may very well have broken the law and maybe a number of laws,
yeah,
including seeking to coerce you into doing what you don't want to do,
exactly.
and maybe even facilitating your sister in committing fraud,
Yes,
and could very well now be at a place where, after this meeting that you're having with us here, could find themselves in some serious hot water.
definitely. And the problem is, what I find very interesting is I contacted a few organizations that is supposed to help with this situation, and
Mhm.
they came around and told me that it is between me and the family member. Remember, I didn't make any arrangement with the family member. I make arrangement with parish council. Parish council is the one who brought the rules and regulation of the letter of permission, right? I did not give anybody any permission, and they gave somebody permission on my behalf. How does somebody else come in? If it wasn't a family member, would they say to me, it's me, between me and the other person?
Who did you speak to? When I say who, I mean which organization are you talking about?
A government organization.
Another agency of government.
Yes.
What's the name of that agency?
I don't, OPM
OPM. You sure?
inquiry.
You sure it's OPM?
Oh, yes.
That's the Office of the Prime Minister.
The inquiry part.
Yeah, but even whether it's inquiry part or not, if it,
Exactly.
do you have that in writing? Did they send you an
Yes,
email?
yes, it is in
Oh
writing.
my gosh,
And
this has gone very far. So the OPM, the inquiry division, said to you, they can't do nothing about that. It's between you and the family members.
yeah, it is between me and the family member. And then they said, oh, when they get the letter of permission letter from, say for example, because I requested the letter from parish council that they claim that I signed,
Yes.
because I told them the situation, and they said I need to request that document.
Yes.
And now they have replied to me.
Mm-hmm.
When they see that it's too much for them, I don't know if they are afraid or they're
Mm-hmm.
incompetent, but I find them very, very not skilled enough to deal with
Who is
anything.
that? Who is that?
The office, the inquiry office.
Of the OPM. Is it, to be honest with you, I see what you're saying, that and there are many persons who are in positions for which they're not qualified
I,
or competent to serve because they're there because of political connections and not there because they have what it takes to do the job. But outside of that, though, Jamaica is a very corrupt country, and our people seem to err on the side of corruption rather than following due
exactly.
process, right? They like to engage in corruption. So, and sometimes they just want to get rid of you. They don't want to
Exactly.
pursue. They
I
don't want to
believe that
pursue.
what that comment or that statement she made was to get rid of me, because if anybody in their right mind, even a dunce on the street, would know that if I have an agreement with you, you can't
Mhm.
tell me it's between me and somebody else.
For sure. All right, we have to wrap it up now, but let's make sure we have all the factors in place here. Where is it today at this point? Because the last thing was in June. You've now contacted the OPMs, the Office of the Prime Minister. You have been in touch with the National Land Agency, NLA. You have contacted the Mr. X, and he says he's no longer working there. Your sister has contacted you, asking you now for permission for her to go and collect what she claims is the master title.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it now at this moment in time? What's the position today? Are you still waiting on the parish council to issue a title to you, or are you aware of the title being issued to somebody else, or is your sister still waiting to hear from you?
From what I get, the latest is that
Mhm.
someone from the parish council is going there soon to check the peg.
Going where?
Um, Going to the location of the property to check the pegs
To check
to
the pegs for what?
of the I don't know. That's what I was given, and
What?
to
They're
check
gonna do another boundary survey?
exactly,
Somebody
to
from the
check the
parish
peg.
council
And this
going
is
to
the
do.
problem I
Listen,
have,
man,
and
this is
I
it here.
find it very interesting how these people really treat people as if we are so silly. Um, Imagine the fact that if you explain, I said to them the situation. This
So
person,
who's
when
them?
she
Who is them? The parish
is parish
council?
council. So
Okay.
when I explained to parish council the reason why I want to do mine as an individual is
Mm.
because the person who, for whatever reason,
Mm.
that person is, they'd never give you anything straightforward. Nothing was you have to be picking sense out of nonsense, nothing making sense. So I said to the
Who are
parish
you
council
talking about
community,
now? Who are you talking about?
parish, the sister.
The sister. Right. So, but that's fine. This because the truth of the matter is the sister is not the problem. To be honest with you, the sister is not the
Right.
problem because you're going to have bad family members. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to have bad friends, people who pretend as if they're your friend or pretend as if they're working in your favor, but they have bad intention. That's a part of life.
Right.
They're going to do that. The problem you're having is that the government agency that you should be able to trust to
Mm-hmm.
work according to the law and regulations, you
Right.
cannot trust them because they will be in collusion with other persons to undermine your interests. So you
Yes.
can't just go to the government office and say, I would like to get this done. And they give you a standard form with all the things that are required, and you simply go and get them and come and give it and
Mm-hmm.
end of story. No, you have to have in your case
Mm-hmm.
somebody trying hard to
Mm-hmm.
get you to give up your rights to
Mm-hmm.
somebody else to manage your affairs. When you said, no, I am capable and I am willing, I am able to carry this thing out myself. And they said,
Exactly.
no, I want you to go over there. So, and even after you said no, they still go
Find
and
a way.
try to see if they can find a way around it. And then when they come back to you now, through your sister, and you say no again, and you finally go to the OPM, the Office of the Prime Minister, to get some reprieve, you can't get done. I tell you something, this is why you have such a high crime and murder rate in Jamaica. Because when you have people suffering, because what happened now, you know, somebody was on here saying you need to go get a lawyer. A lawyer, and this is true, you do need to get a lawyer, but the problem is lawyers cost money.
Yes.
Lawyers cost whole heap of money. Lawyers also, in the Jamaican context, have been found to be themselves corrupt. So you might even
Exactly,
get a
and I had that experience as well.
There you go.
Where
You
she
need a
find a
lawyer.
way to get the lawyer to tell me to give her a letter of permission, and I had to get rid of the lawyer. Right?
That is the problem we have in this country. Too much corruption. Everywhere you turn is corruption.
Everywhere you turn.
Every inch of the country is, and by the way, this is not just by chance. This is a part of a systemic problem. It is coming from way back. The colonial masters were corrupt. Slavery was corruption. And then those who have come after them and adopted their colonial system of governance has passed down corruption to us and made our society corrupt in so many ways.
Yeah. It's very bad because, as you said before, it's a simple system. They give me the list of what is required. I do what they said. They process and I go about my business. No, I am fighting. They should be paying that bill.
So
really?
They're wasting your time. They're not wasting your time. Like so when you could have just gone, I mean, it's first of all, the first one was 17 years. My God. 17 years. And then now 3 years on top of it. And then you have to be fighting with the people that we employ through our taxes to properly manage the system to ensure that we're treated fairly and honestly by our government. Because the tax office, you know, and the parish council and the NLA and the OPM, these are government agencies.
Definitely.
That we, by virtue of their fake democracy, have employed with our votes and paid for with our taxes. And having done that, we still can't depend on them to defend us and work in our interest. We have to go get lawyers.
That is the point. They defend because you if you know about the UK very well, an organization of policies that deter these people's behavior. I'm not saying there's no problems here, but this is a normal sales assistant job. I have spoken to so many directors, and I think it's like kindergarten, children wearing careers day clothes, pretending to be directors. All of them were not capable to speak to anybody in the parish council to say this is wrong.
Yeah, one of the problems is that when you have so much corruption going around, we can't talk to each other. Even in organizations, you can't hold people accountable. If you hold them accountable, they say you're bad, you're a dictator, you are micromanaging, you can't hold them. The moment you hold them accountable, they become your sworn enemy.
Exactly.
You have to just simply go in and just yes, and
these people who are creating this scam and stuff, they feed on that. They know the mentality of the people, that they get them in a way where they think this way. Once you're trying to do good, they try to. So they feed on that, knowing that this is what it is. This person is going to come on my side because this is what they want. This is why when everything is going electronic or internet, they have a outrage for some strange reason, and the world is going forwards. We are communicating in two different countries, and they would fight the fact that you're using technology. So that's how simple-minded they are.
In the technology, one of the most scary things in the use of technology, which is good. Technology is a good thing. Technology is not something for us to fear. It is for us to understand and make sure we have proper checks and balances. So here's my concern with use of technology, for example. If you give a corrupt system of government the power to take away your rights using technology, that is wrong. The technology must serve to protect your rights. It must serve to ensure proper checks and balances. It must
Right.
serve to help you to be more efficient and effective while protecting your personal space, protecting your privacy, protecting your rights. So, for example, the application process for you to get your title could have been electronic, where you put in all the stuff
Mm-hmm.
and it goes through, and you're not now talking with this person who is getting to try to convince you because whatever, right? It just goes through.
Exactly.
However, you have to make sure now the technology is so designed that he can't go in the back end and manipulate it
Mm-hmm.
or get him friend in the IT to. So, for example, you send in and click the button and say, I wish to represent myself, and you click send, and it runs through the wires and go into the
Mm-hmm.
thing. But somebody in IT is able to go in the back end and change that you had said you want to
I
represent
was.
yourself, to change it to say you want X to represent you. You follow me?
Yes, definitely.
So that's why the UIC is so big on good governance. We're so big on transparency. We're so big on checks and balances. We're so big on making sure that we have proper separation of powers between the agencies, between the legislative, between the executive, so that when the pieces are working, they're automatically being a check on the other.
Yes.
Okay? Very important. So we have to sum up now, though. So I want to get from you, at this point, where are you? What is the final analysis right now?
I am hoping or waiting to see what will become of. I'm waiting on parish council actually to email me to tell me what is the next step, because I am entitled for them to correspond with me directly, and they're not responding.
So the parish council is not responding with you anymore. What about your sister? Has she reached out again?
Other than the fact that when I asked her if she received her title, she said no, and they're going to check the pegs. And I'm not sure why the pegs need checking so many times. I don't know.
Okay. So who told you somebody's going to check the peg? Your sister
The
or the
sister.
parish council? Your
The
sister.
sister. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so right, you can't take that for anything. So right now the sister is no longer who you talk to. She's out of the equation, even though she's still there. So
Mm-hmm.
now what you're going to do now is you're going to have to get some serious legal help, and you're also going to have to enlist the assistance of the fraud department. And we're going to have to talk about next step off the air, so that those who
Yeah,
might send this back to whoever, because I mean, I know some people will know your voice, right? Those who are connected with you,
definitely.
you
And
know.
maybe pick up where and who it is already.
Exactly, they know all
Definitely.
of that. So we're going to have to now circumvent that and deal with the stuff. But bottom line is, this is fraud, this is scamming, this is corruption. So
It is.
Jamaicans everywhere around the world, I want you to learn from Jane Doe's experience. You can't trust family members.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you just can't. Don't just blindly trust any family members. Number two, you can't trust the advice of the government agencies. You have to second guess them and question and check everything. Read the documentation carefully. Third, be careful about the lawyer that you select. Make sure that person is working on your behalf and in your best interest. Pay attention to what they're saying to you and what they're suggesting. And if you feel uncomfortable, make sure you get a second opinion. It's very, very important that you don't take anything for granted. There are countless Jamaicans who have lost millions and millions and millions of dollars because of corrupt individuals here in our country, family
Yeah.
members or not.
I've met so many in the UK who have suffered just by doing business there with that same property thing. And it is very sad, because if anyone knows the UK very well, it's not an easy place.
Mhm.
And, it's really sad to know that your own place can be harder than a strange place, so
Yes,
to speak.
exactly. So let me thank you again, Jane Doe, for being here. This is not the end of our conversation. We're going to now follow up, and we'll have a part two on the resolution, right? So
Yes.
there's things you can do, and there's things that you will do to get this done. A lawyer will have to be involved for sure, but we have to make sure it's the right kind of lawyer who is able to assist. And we're going to also enlist the help of those in the fraud department of the government agency if we can find one that they can't buy out. All right. So thanks again for being here. Have a good night. I know it's late where you are. Now it's about 9 o'clock or so, 9:15. So thanks for being here with me.
8:15, yeah.
8:15, 8:16.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night and we'll talk again soon. Let me just wrap up here. All right. Take care.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Good night. All right. Everyone, you heard the story of Jane Doe. Unfortunately, it's the story of many, many Jamaicans here at home and around the world. And this needs to stop. But just imagine if we had the UIC's policy concerning land. Just imagine if we had a government, a constitution, a set of laws and regulations that first and foremost respect the fact that this land belongs to you, not to the government, not to the crown. So the laws and regulations would be written to protect your property rights, to ensure that every Jamaican is a property owner. I know some people say it can't be done because it seemed like an impossibility. I always share the idea of Singapore, where they have 1/15 the size of our country. They have twice as many people, but they have 93% home ownership rate. It's very basic. Every single person wants to have somewhere to live, want to have a piece of this country for themselves. And unfortunately, the laws that we have in Jamaica, the government we have in Jamaica, were designed to perpetuate the colonial mindset, the master slave mindset, which robs the Jamaican people of their entitlement. You are entitled to the land of Jamaica. It is your land. You should not have to work or slave to buy this land, nor should you have to pay property tax, which is a form of rent for this land. And it should be very easy for you to have title to your land. A UIC government is going to fix all of that and make you, once you are a legitimate Jamaican, once your foreparents were once slaves in this country, you are entitled to a piece of the rock that we call Jamaica. So the UIC is going to fix that. We have a clear policy and a clear plan to make that happen. Of course, it's not easy building a political party to go up against the well-established two that have been heavily funded by the PSOJ over the last 80 years to create the kind of system and condition that is oppressing the people. So now I'm asking you, calling upon you, to join hands with me and the rest of uniters in the UIC to ensure that we have the funds, the manpower, the intellect, the ability to effectively contest the next elections and win seats in the House of Parliament to champion your cause. And remember, we're fighting for one Jamaica because we're stronger together. Have a good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are. Until we meet again, take care. All the best.